This presentation will provide an overview of the key concepts utilized when guiding children's behavior. Throughout the presentation, we will discuss the importance of social skill development in young children, define and describe challenging behavior, and then present an overview of the pyramid model of positive behavior support, which forms the basis of our child guidance course. Let's take a moment and start this discussion with some sobering facts. An estimated 9 to 13% of American children and adolescents between the ages of 9 to 17 have serious, diagnosable emotional or behavioral health disorders resulting in substantial to extreme impairment. Students with social emotional disorders, or SED, miss more days of school than do students in all other disability categories. More than half of the students with SED drop out of grades 9 through 12, the highest rate for all disability categories. Of those children with SED who drop out of school, 73% are arrested within 5 years of leaving school. So what does this mean for young children? Children who are identified as hard to manage at ages 3 and 4 have a high probability, almost 50-50, of continuing to have difficulties into adolescence. And early appearing aggressive behaviors are the best indicator of juvenile gang membership and violence. When aggressive and antisocial behavior has persisted until children are age 9, further intervention has a very poor chance of success. Of the young children who show early signs of challenging behavior, it has been estimated that fewer than 10% of these children receive services for these challenges. Another alarming statistic is that preschool children are 3 times more likely to be expelled than children in grades kindergarten through 12. But there is hope. There are evidence-based practices that are effective in changing this developmental trajectory. The problem is not what to do, but rests in where and how we can support children and how families access services. When we talk about challenging behavior, what are we really referring to? Challenging behavior is any behavior that interferes with a child's development, is harmful to the child, other children, or adults, or behavior that puts a child at high risk for social problems and school failure. Many times we think of children acting out as exhibiting challenging behavior, but children who are too quiet, too shy, and socially isolated are just as at risk for school failure. When we examine aggressive behavior, which is what most of us think about when we think of challenging behavior, we can look at physical or verbal behavior. These physical behaviors and verbal behaviors can be direct, such as hitting, pushing, punching, biting, name-calling, threatening, or indirect behaviors, such as spreading rumors or exclusion. No matter what category, aggressive behavior, if not extinguished, can lead to school failure and even imprisonment as children grow older. You may have heard the terms antisocial or disruptive behavior. These behaviors are ones that cause physical or mental harm or property loss or damage to others. These are also behaviors that violate a social norm. For instance, in a traditional Greek family, it may be considered appropriate to break plates at a wedding, yet this would be considered inappropriate at a White House dinner function. So we must examine all behaviors within the context of culture. We will continue this cultural discussion later in this lesson, as well as throughout the course. While culture and context can impact the appropriateness of a behavior, so too can the development of a child. When infants and toddlers are showing aggression, this is often developmentally appropriate behavior. As these children lack the cognition, communication, and language skills needed to express complex feelings, wants, and needs, children become frustrated when they are not being understood. We find that this developmentally appropriate aggression lessens around the age of 3. But even after the age of 3, all children use challenging behavior once in a while. It may even be expected for extended periods of time, especially after a child experiences a challenging life event, such as a divorce in the family, a new baby, a parent's illness, or a move to a new house. Throughout this course, we will learn to look at the function of the behavior to determine how to best address it within our classrooms, as well as when working with families. No matter what the cause, we know we must address behavior problems because they can lead to more serious problems as the child gets older. Some problems that can manifest as a result of behavior issues in a child include peer rejection, low self-esteem, isolation, scholastic troubles, decreased language development, as well as missed school and classes. Often, when we are referring to levels of support and development in a classroom, we refer to the pyramid model. The bottom of the pyramid represents supports that are needed for most children to be successful. As we move up to the top of the pyramid, we will discuss intensive behavior interventions that are only needed by a few children exhibiting the most challenging behaviors. The supports that are needed by everyone are primary supports. Targeted interventions and supports that address specific issues and are needed only by some children, but not by all, are called secondary supports. The top-level supports are those needed by children with extreme challenging behaviors. These behaviors are called tertiary supports. Tertiary supports are developed and implemented by a team. We will discuss the basis of these supports, but it is important to remember that a child with this level of challenges needs more support than one person can provide. As we close this presentation, please remember that throughout this course you will begin to understand the functions of behavior. We know that early intervention for challenging behavior is key to a child's success. These interventions can occur at multiple levels, which again will be discussed throughout the course.